The Bestseller by E.J. Moore, Part 8. He purchased a ticket for a cash-only flight under a fake name. He found a cabin miles deep in pines, no signal, no neighbors. For 3 nights, the wind lulled him into restless, whiskey-soaked sleep. No knocks, no phone buzzing. But he couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. On the 4th night, he staggered outside for some fresh air. A cool breeze carrying the songs of crickets caressing his fevered face. Gazing at the twitching stars that surveyed the calm forest, the night sky pulsed a shade Trent had never seen before. The stars began to rattle, elongating into parallel loops before snapping back to their white speck origin, and then stillness. Not quiet, not silence, but a suffocating pause in reality. Trent's legs locked. An unearthly chill crawled up his spine, with the silent promise of something ancient lurking, watching. At the edge of the trees, a perfect circle of people stood waiting. Men, women, and children, as if they'd stopped everything they were doing just to be there. A man in a grimy high-vis vest stood beside a small girl clutching a battered plastic dinosaur, her small fists white with tension. Their faces were half lit by a sliver of moon. No words, no motion, just wide-eyed stares in the awful, frozen stillness of people who should be alive, but somehow weren't. The earth under his boots trembled and pulsed. One step forward, an older woman with blonde hair and a peaceful smile. She held a leather-bound book he'd never seen before. Blank cover, no title, only the looping rune burned into the hide. "We brought you this," she said, "the next chapter." He staggered back, desperately searching for an escape, but as he tried to turn, the silence of the circle shifted into a chant, their words coiling around him like a tightening grip, freezing him in place. The forest seemed to lean in, eager to listen as the woman blew a powder from the leather book into Trent's face. "The ink is bleeding through," the woman giggled. Their faces began to distort, tongues flickering through gnashed, cracking teeth, eyes weeping a beautifully teal ooze. The chants echoed off the forest walls and penetrated his skull. The world spun as trees twisted, trying to peel the sky away. Trent wailed, his voice ripping from his throat as he came to, bound in rotting leather straps to a damp concrete slab carved with thousands of little faces. Around him, sunlight leaked through torn paper sloppily taped over basement windows, casting sickly, crooked beams across the walls. The smell of stagnant sweat and ink filled the air. Ash formed a perfect ring around him, each grain etched with runes too fine to decipher. A calm voice drifted from the dark. "You arrived a herald of ink, the blood between fiction and flesh. You gave us the word. Now bring forth the witness." Behind them, the shadows coalesced into something vast, an absence of light with eyes that gleamed like black mirrors. A tall, emaciated figure, draped in a dirty celadon robe, watched from a distance as if etched into the horizon. The temperature plunged as Trent's breath plumed into icy clouds. The figure raised his hand, each movement dragging against the air like grinding glass. The tattered folds of its robe twisted and writhed in the dead wind. With a sudden snap of its fist, reality buckled. A jagged split seared through Trent's mind. Behind his eyes, a vast, hollow eternity exploded. Endless, hungry, alive. Trent blinked and was back in the filthy apartment. But something was off. The walls were too far apart. The carpet became flat, warping with each step, like a balloon being squeezed, ready to burst. He picked up his phone. Before he could dial, David called him. Trent quickly answered. "Hey man, perfect timing. I was just about to—" "Wait, no, David, I'm sorry." With a calm authority, David stopped him. "This work has been claimed." Trent froze with confusion. He refreshed, tried again. Same result. Trent tittered, lifting his glass in a silent toast to his own brilliance. "Please stop! I didn't write that book," he cried with an eager flick of the mouse. "Accept, click. Download, click." He gasped, trying to catch his breath as everything shifted back to the basement. That's when he felt it. Something black and wet blooming beneath his skin, thick as oil, threading through him with an ancient familiarity. His vision blurred until he saw floating before him the black and white photo. He fought to look away, begging those around him, "I'll do anything," when a hand in a tattered blue suit sleeve yanked his head back by the hair, pulling so hard he swore his scalp would tear. His eyes were held captive, fixated on the image. Two boys, one caught mid-laughter, the other drenched in tears. His heart froze as it finally became clear. This wasn't a random AI hallucination, but the portrait of him and David, neglected, soaked, and distorted with booze. Except this time the figure lingered in the background, half swallowed by the vignettes of time. A low, thunderous laugh rumbled from the image as the boy's eyes blazed white-hot, as if the paper itself was catching fire where their souls should have been. And in that excruciating moment, Trent Johns felt true inspiration wash over him for the first time. The story writing itself in place of his existence was horrifying and euphoric. "I'm brilliant," he whispered, tears streaming down his shaking face. Not from fear, but from the brutal clarity of finally seeing what he had turned himself into. Trent wasn't a writer. Not really. He wasn't even a pen. He was the prologue to, "Thank you for using Azathoth AI. Would you like to generate another story?"